the load. So there's not so much pressure of them to perform at a high level, high intensity through the obviously duration of the season. So
What do you make of Berta as well? As like, just because there was a lot of names, in the fold of the sporting
yeah,
director. Thomas Rositzky was mentioned, Thiago Scuro at Monaco was mentioned. Obviously, Jason Ato, who is already in the kind of position as assistant sporting director, was mentioned as well. Roberto Alabe from Real Sociedad was talked about quite a bit. I think there's someone else that I'm forgetting. Dan Ashworth, I think, was mentioned also potentially. So it is Andrea Berta. I mean, I'm not asking you to be an expert in what he's done or even known who he was prior to him being linked to the position, but having, I'm sure, heard a bit more about him since his appointment. What do you make of that? Because I called it a pretty un-Arsenal type appointment.
Yeah, I was very shocked by it, but pleasantly surprised. I think it's been a fantastic acquisition to get Berta in, because I feel like he ticks all the boxes that Arsenal really need right now. I think they needed a sporting director which was very much experienced, probably more experienced than Arteta, just to have a different balance in terms of structure. You've got Arteta, the obviously young, inspiring manager. Then you've got Berta, the more experienced, seasoned kind of veteran in his position. I think with Edu, it was kind of like similar in terms of Edu wasn't as obviously experienced as probably maybe Arsenal fans would have liked in terms of getting loads of obviously high profile deals over the line before coming to Arsenal. So I think Berta ticks those boxes. You see the plethora of players he's bought in for obviously Atletico Madrid, the likes of João Felix and Morata, and the list goes on and on. Rodri, Cunha, etc., etc. So the fact that he's got a history of spending big money, knows that he's got the obviously the capability of getting those big deals over the line, and that's what I think Arsenal need. Really, we need a window where we can get and attract those big money signings, especially in those forward areas, because with forward players you have to spend the big money, you have to lure them with the big wages and the big transfer fees, unfortunately, especially when we're at a level where we're just about trying to get to the pinnacle, where we need that bit of stardust, a bit of star quality in those forward areas to really push us over the line. So I feel like because he's got the history of doing that, that is obviously another plus as well. And he's experienced and he's won leagues under his ownership, ownership in terms of him being him being the sporting director at Atletico Madrid, and then winning 2 La Liga titles, 2 Europa Leagues. They won trophies competing against 2 of the biggest clubs in the world in Barcelona and Real Madrid. So he knows what it's like to really be in that position and get over the line against all the top level teams with all the top level players. So I was very, very surprised, but happily surprised. And already you see obviously the reports from David Ornstein and other obviously media outlets that he's having a lot of say, which I think is key, man. I feel like you do need a few more voices in that area. I think like obviously Arteta knowing what plays he wants is good, but sometimes I do feel you kind of need like another voice there. Just say, you know what, I know you want this player, but maybe have a look at this one. You might not have even thought about having this one, but if you have a look at this one, this might be something you want as well, just a different kind of perspective. So it's not so like one way where it has to be this player or nothing. There's a bit more wiggle room, a bit more alternatives. I feel that's a good thing as well. So if he could get these deals over the line, Tom, I feel like it would be a massive tick in his reign already, because like I said, the striker and the left winger positions are positions we've needed to fill for 2-3 years, and we've not managed to do it for whatever reason. So if you can come in and do it straight away, for me, he'd be in good graces in my book, to be honest with you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously there's going to be some interesting, thoughts around him. I've already seen some people a little bit hesitant, around, which is fair enough. We don't know too much about what he's going to do. I think there's a lot of misconceptions flying around about his time at Atletico Madrid, because there was a lot of kind of cooks involved in what was going on there. Diego Simeone, a very influential manager there as well, where he's going to have to work with another very influential manager in Arteta here. And it was interesting to hear what kind of he said, Arteta, what he said specifically about Berta, what he said, we've already got our plans. I asked Arteta about, you've got those established plans. You've now got someone coming in with those, in your mind, you'll have an idea of what you want to do for the summer. And he talked about, it's his job to twist those plans and make them better. That's why he's come in. So that, I think, was a really, really good sign. Just lastly, before we go and look ahead to today's game against Everton, there was a press conference yesterday. We're recording this on Friday, but yesterday, in terms of how time travel works with these pre-recordings. And there was some really interesting stuff. Obviously, he talked about how Ben White and Julian Timber, he's hopeful that they might be involved today, which is great. Really good news. Obviously, the big news this week has been Gabriel's injury. And there was a part of the show which I can talk about.